Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage, Jenny Farah.
Jenny, who can I turn to?
Hey everyone! Happy Saturday. How you doing? How are breakouts? Woo! Can we give a hand to our presenters again? Awesome. All right, well, I am super excited. For the first time ever, we have your top leaders who are out there recruiting, so top in recruiting, who are going to be on stage here to give and share with you their best practices. Are you excited? All right, so help me welcome them out. We got Janice, Cindy, Chelsea, and Kathy. Come on out. Hey Thanks for joining me here today, ladies.
Thanks for having us.
All right, so I want to get started and have you introduce yourselves. What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah? All right, let's start with you, Janice.
Well, my name's Janice Whiting. I'm coach number 33, and I am an executive manager with Fun Stampers Journey. Yes, that's me. I have been with Fun Stampers Journey for about, how long have we been a company? So since the beginning. So is that 4 years almost? 3 and a half, something like that. And I think we're supposed to say our favorite item, right, that we have?
Yes.
And I would say that probably my favorite one is not very sexy, but I use it all the time, which is our craft clip. So I sell that, I advertise that because I use that more than anything. Specifically when I'm laying down, like, can't hear me. Justin, I asked about my scarf.
You're okay.
He said I was fine. Craft glue, our Journey craft glue. That's my favorite item. Because anytime I use the runner, which is fine, I use that too, but if I'm going to lay down a piece of whatever, I feel like with the craft glue, I can like jiggle and make it just perfect because I like it perfect, and with the other one, I'm like, Anyway.
Thank you, Janice,
me.
for being up here with us.
Welcome.
Yay.
Hi, I'm Cindy Bristow. I'm coach number 147, and I joined in November of 2014. What? Tell me your title. Pardon? Oh, on my title, I'm a senior manager. And
Senior manager.
Senior manager, and my favorite item are our pencils. I love our pencils.
Nice.
Thank you, Cindy.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Comer. I'm coach number 1088, and I am a senior manager. And my favorite item, I think, is Pop Dots. I really like to pop things. So Pop Dots, foam squares, that's my thing.
All right, thank you, Chelsea.
Hi everybody, I'm Kathy Martin from Idaho, and I am the new girl on the block, coach number 9345. I am a senior leader, and I have been with Fun Stampers Journey since July.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, well, I'm super excited to have you all here, and we're going to kind of break up how we're going to talk about each part of recruiting, and we should probably start at the basics. What do you think? Yeah? All right, so we're going to start at the recruiting basics. So Janice, let's start with you. Can you talk to us a little bit about why your story and your why are so important?
Sure. I guess for me, it's important. For me, that part of why we do what we do is pretty important because I'm all about wanting to connect, right? Connect with your audience, connect with your customers, connect with everyone that's a part of the journey. And so if they don't know why you're in it and why you're doing what you do, then that's a piece that it's an opportunity that you're missing to connect with those people. So obviously you guys know I do a lot of my stuff online, and so for them, it's just another connect point for me. So love that I can share that, man, I've been crafting all my life, and you know, even if you're not a crafter, I believe that we're all made to create in some respect. Either you're decorating your home, or you're doing this, or you're doing that, you know, whatever it is, giving gifts to people and that kind of a thing. we're all made to create in some form or fashion, and that's kind of my why, and I love to share that because, again, it goes back to that connect point. It's connecting with someone, and as human beings, we all thrive, we all need that connect point. So for me, that's why knowing your story and knowing your why is important to Zahn.
It's a very powerful tool.
Because Dawn's been in and out and over with this know your why story with her company. She's like, I am over the why. Let's move on. But it's important.
She's like, I know it.
Yo, good.
All right, so along with your why, goal setting is very important. It's critical. So Cindy, you're great with goal setting. Can you talk to us a little bit about why it helps with success?
To me, goal setting, once I figured out that if you set a goal and you write it down, that's when my business took off. I'm sure 90% of us out here started as, oh, I just want the products and I want a discount at the products. When I was told to write down what I wanted and to visualize what I wanted, that's when my business took off. So it started with me going, okay, I'm a leader. What do I have to do to get to senior leader? And I went to my back office and I looked at my tools and I'm like, okay, this is what I need to make it happen. So let's see that right now are you a senior leader right now?
I'm a senior leader.
Okay, so have you looked to see what you have to do to make it to the next step? I mean, how many people have done that? Looked in your back office and made the goal that by convention, I want to be an executive leader, which I'm reading off notes here. You're going to have 3 in your first downline, and one of them has to be a leader. So how are you going to go about, if you're here, you already have one recruit. How are you going to go about making those other 2 people sign up and recruiting them to your team? That's my goal. That's, then you have a roadmap, like, okay, to make so many people sign up with me or to get so many recruits in my team, what am I going to do? Who all do I have to ask to do that? And my major goal every year is to go on vacation. And to do that and go on a vacation that I really like, I have to earn the incentive trip. So every year I'm like, okay, I have to earn $15,000 in sales. So I set a goal and I break it down to what I need to do every month for that. And I figured out to get the rest of that points, the easiest way to do it is to recruit and 2 coaches a month and have them do their minimum so that they're a qualified coach. So that's my goal. And I jokingly set that goal last year to go to Disney. I did it. I found if you write it down and you see it on your refrigerator, on your craft room wall, whatever, it works.
Absolutely.
It really does.
Something about the writing it down.
Tell somebody too.
Brain
Tell your
connectivity.
husband, hey, we're going to Cancun this year.
We're going to Disneyland.
Having it there where you can see it every
It really-
single day.
It helps. Write it down, visualize it. Think about your toes in the sand. It's like, I'm doing that.
Awesome. All right, well, another thing for those of you who first come on board, you think about, well, what do I do? And creating a list is an important part of that. But also, what are you doing with that list as you move forward? So, Chelsea, you found a lot of success and a lot of creative ways to work with your list. Can you share with everybody the do's and don'ts of creating a list and maintaining it?
Yeah, so early on, I created a list, and I put a lot of people on there. I wrote down their name. I put their email address on there. I put their phone number. I put everything, are they on Facebook? Like, I put everything that I know about that person on this list. And then I have columns, and basically it's my color code. So I'll call them, I'll contact them. If they really don't seem like they're interested right now, I might put them as a little red, like, okay, for my red system, I call them or contact them every 6, 9, 12 months, depending on what's going on in my life. But I have that there, and I still have all their contact information, and I write down what date I contacted them. so I know how frequently I'm contacting them. Then, or I'll give them a yellow. They seem interested, but you know, they might just need some more time. And I'll follow up with them a little more frequently. Or if it's a green, that means you need to get this girl this month. Like, she is ready. So then I will send her a little, and I also send the other ones too, but I'll send them a little recruiting packet or things like that and really entice them and follow up the next week again and say, hey, are you ready? Let's do this.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. I love your system. I've seen your little book. All right, so Kathy, new kid on the block. How's it going?
New kid on the block.
She's a bit fearless, maybe a lot fearless, and you have no problem going up to someone and just telling them about FSJ.
Yeah, I think that's that 1.85% yellow in me.
So can you talk to the group about how you just don't take no for an answer?
Say it again.
How you just don't take no for an answer.
No. So basically when I started, I had never had a coach before. And so I did not know where to go with anything. And so I asked, Becky was my upline, and I said, what do I do? Where do I go? And so with that, I took my list and I just started with those people. And you have to show some enthusiasm. And if you're passionate about what you have and what you have available, then you'll find that there are coaches everywhere. And so with that, my very first recruit was somebody who was not a stamper. She had no crafting experience. I asked her, would you be interested in this? And she says, no, I don't craft. And I said, that's really too bad, because I have an awesome special and an awesome deal available, and these products are to die for. And so she said, really, what are they? Because my daughter loves to craft. And so maybe she'd be interested. And I said, well, she's not old enough. She's only 12 years old. And she said, I said, but I could teach you how to use these products, and that's something that you could use and do with your daughter. And she says, really? You'd show me how to use those? And I said, yes, I would. So with that, that was how my very first recruit came. And once I got the first recruit, it seemed like there was no stopping me from there. It was like, well, that was easy enough. And I sold that to somebody who was not even a crafter. And so it gave me the confidence with that one to go out there and just start asking everybody else. And they may have said no, but I didn't care. And so I just would move on to the next one and move on to the next one and move on to the next one. And eventually then I would suck these other ones back in. And I brought a lot of them back around, even though they initially didn't think they would be interested, just because they could see how passionate I was about it and excited. And they're like, well, Carlos, she's that excited, because I'm not. I am not the yellow person. And so if I'm excited about something, then other people take notice, and they're like, what is that that has her so gung-ho and going with that? So
Awesome. I love your tenacity. And right there, don't look at someone and prejudge them. Tell everybody, because you just never know. And the more you talk to them about it, the more interested they may become.
the people who I thought would be interested in it, I was surprised that many of them weren't. And the people that I was thinking, oh, they would not be at all interested in that. I took this to a school event because I started sharing it out there, and people started saying, oh, that would be perfect for the thank you cards and the Veterans Day cards that we're making at the school this week. And so bring that. And the ones I thought would be interested were like not, but the ones that showed the interest, I was like, oh, really? And then, you know, that just opened up a whole new analytical part of me that was like, okay, let me analyze all this and rethink that. So
Awesome.
The prejudge thing is also really important because I had a friend of mine that she comes over to craft every now and then, but I never really asked her if she'd like to join my team. I don't know why, but I just didn't. And you know, if it's what Nicole says before in the past, if you don't ask, you don't get. And, you know, I never asked her, but then she asked me, hey, what is this big deal coach challenge thing and $25 deal? And I'm like, oh, you want me to talk to you about that? And she signed up 5 minutes later. And I was like, why? I've known you for 4 years. Why haven't I asked you this before? So just don't be afraid to ask and get.
And along with that, I have had people that I didn't ask, and somebody else asked them first. So make sure you ask, because otherwise you're going to get your feelings hurt because your bestie right here has asked.
I don't think.
No, it wasn't you, no. But if you don't ask them, somebody else will ask them. So you need to make sure you ask everybody. No doesn't mean, no, I don't like you. No means not right now. So don't be afraid to go for that no.
Really good tips. All right, so we got through the basics. Great job, girls.
Thanks.
So let's move on. Let's talk about maximizing your recruiting potential. And Janice, we'll start with you. You've heard from Janice throughout conference here, and she's talked a lot about her online business. And you've heard from Brittany, and there's so many opportunities. So can you talk to us a little bit about how it helps you recruiting with new coaches?
Yeah. So like I said, most of my business is online. I'm 97.5% is all online. And I mean, I don't think I have to repeat the benefits of it being online, because you're reaching such a wide audience, such a broad audience. You're reaching so many people that you would never, ever have the opportunity to meet. These other things, the parties, those are like the foundation. These are the good things. And that's how you get these coaches that know you. You get these, you know, personal relationships. That's huge. But once you kind of go beyond that, it's like, okay, what else can I do? You need to reach that broader audience. And so the online way is the way to do that. And for me, like I said, with my time constraints, with my family and my job, that's the only way I've been able to do it. When I'm able to get on, and like I mentioned earlier, the connect point, sometimes it's hard to, you know, when you're in person, it's so much easier. You're looking at them, you're talking to them, you're shaking their hand, you're crafting with them. That's an easy way to connect, right? So it's a little more challenging online, but when you do it online, you have to bring in that kind of, you know, a lot of people ask me, well, gosh, well, you're just such a big personality, that's why you're so good at it. I was like, it's not even all about that. It's about being genuine, who you are, and your happy self, right? You're not trying to force it. You're just trying to be happy, excited. Kathy mentioned the enthusiasm. She's excited about the product. Showing that kind of thing is going to take you, you know, leaps and bounds. And to be quite honest, guys, if you watch any of my videos, I don't always actively recruit online. I literally just, I talk about promotions. If there is a recruiting promotion, I might do a video and say, I will say, and you know what, if you've been thinking about it, then, you know, shoot me an email, send me, you know, a message, comment on the video below. That's really all I do. I don't put out video after video saying, come on, join me. It's literally showing the enthusiasm that you have, showing the product, telling them, because they don't know if you don't say, right? And then letting the magic of YouTube and everything else do the work for you. And again, I don't have much time. And so the whole deal of get the most bang for your buck, that's what online does.
Yeah, I think somebody had that as a question that they submitted, and you know, there's no investment on going online. It's free.
I get a lot of my recruits, most of my recruits now have all been through YouTube. They've seen me, oh, I saw your whatever video, loved it, love the product, can I get more info? And then that starts our communication relationship, either phone call, emails, text, messenger. You start that process then. So it's kind of like your hook. You get them, and then you kind of lead them through all the things that you would lead them through if you were having a party or if you were having a class or an event or whatever. So, yeah.
Really good tip there. All right, so let's talk about maybe, you know, having classes or your customers. Cindy, I think you do a really great job converting your customers into coaches. So do you want to talk a little bit about your strategy?
I have, like Janice, recruited online. That was my first big recruiting drive. Then that avenue wasn't working so well. So I started thinking, okay, where am I going to find my recruits that I need to make it to the next level? And I started thinking about my customer base. It's not huge, it's not wide, but you have certain customers that consistently buy $50 a month from you. You have your what I term my big fish, where they're your dream customer who you know, really buy a lot. That's not who I tend to recruit. I recruit the people who are consistently buying $50 a month from me. Because if they're buying $50 a month from me, they can become a coach, get the discount, and it's a good deal for them. So I'm like, hey, you know, we have this recruiting special going on, or have you thought about it? That's the key thing. Have you thought about it? Because you know, if you buy X amount from me, then if you become a coach and you get one of our kits, then you can buy your $50 and your buying power goes more. You don't want to call them a hobby coach, because I started off as a hobby coach. That term limits you. It really does, because like I said, there's another one of those statistics in here. I'm sure every single one of us in here, besides people who have done this before, like Chelsea here, we didn't come in to be a business builder. We didn't think we were going to be a leader. We weren't going to take it to the next step, but it kind of happened for us. Now you have to lead with the intent. You have to lead by design. And in setting those goals where, okay, I need 2 coaches, you know, I need to recruit 2 coaches. Where am I going to find them? I turn to my customer base. Granted, it does help that I move frequently, and my catch with that is, I'm leaving. You're going to have somebody to buy from. Why don't you become a coach? And then you can do it. You can do the classes. You can carry on these classes that I've been teaching. And yes, you can message me in my group page, my team page. I will give you ideas to teach these classes so that all these other people can enjoy it too. But I really enjoy seeing the aha moment in my customer's face when they realize, oh, I can get this fabulous product, and maybe I can go to Disneyland. Maybe I can go to Cancun. It's one of those awakening that vision in people that you did it, and you didn't do it by anything special. You didn't have a magic wand that you waved. You started because you wanted the discount and you loved the products. You shared the products with me, so now maybe I can do this. So that's my magic potion, is to recruit my steady customers, because yes, I'm losing that $50 a month in sales, but I'm gaining a coach. It actually, they still turn into bread and butter for me, is my favorite, you know, saying, is because I will get paid for their sales. And it expands the base of my business.
Awesome. Thank you. So along with that, you have to be prepared. So you want to have some tools to really help you be able to share at any time. And Chelsea, I think you're really good at that.
Thank you.
So do you want to talk to us about your tactics and how on the go you could just share FSJ?
Yeah. So one thing, I think if you think about your car, right, in the back of your front passenger seat or your driver's seat, there's pretty much a pocket, I think, in all the cars I've had at least. There's a pocket. And what do I have in my pocket? I have catalogs, I have the latest and greatest mini, and I have the snapshot. These things are fabulous. These snapshots, I mean, I don't know if you guys have like priced it out, but it's like less than 50 cents. So put some snapshots in your car, put some catalogs. I'll tell you one funny story that I had. I was in Joann's with my girlfriend, and we were in the crafting aisle, of course, at Joann's. And this lady's husband came up to me. She was trying to find something, and this lady's husband came up to me and said, hey, my wife is trying to find something. Do you know anything about this stuff? And I'm like, well, sure I do. So I proceeded to tell her, and I'm like, you know what? After we make our sales, I'm gonna go outside in my car. I have something for you. And to give her that catalog, and she like opened it up, and she's like, oh my gosh. And you know what? The next day I had a $100 order in my office from her because I was prepared. And again, I didn't bring the catalog into the store. I was outside in the parking lot, but I handed it to her. You know, the other thing I do, I travel a lot for my daytime job, my Monday through Friday job, and I have my backpack stuffed also with these snapshots. I have had conversations in airplanes. I've had conversations in airports. I've had conversations while I'm sitting at the bar having dinner by myself. And I pull these things out, and I just get people very interested. So that's the other thing. Also, recruit pack. So I kind of talked about that a little too. I'm always prepared with a recruit pack. I don't like travel with these, but at home I have ready to go my recruit pack. And with my recruit pack, I have just a little note from myself. And then on our website, under recruiting, there are flyers. Just print those flyers out. There's also, because everyone wants to know, what's your compensation plan? There's a whole flyer on compensation plan. So I print that. I print what our current special is. And I print, of course, here's how to get your kit and what your kit contains. And then, because I'm gonna follow up with them in a week or so after I've sent this, I say, let's go to the back page. You're gonna customize your kit. We're gonna sign you up right now. Let's pick your stamps, your dies, your ATS, let's go. And you know, that's what's really helped me. And the cool thing about this, as I bring it forward now, is I have it on this little ring with cute little ribbon, right? So when we change out our monthly special, when we change out our promotion, whatever, I open up this jump ring and I put in the new flyers, and I am always ready to go with the new one. That way you don't have to print all the pages, just the pages that have been updated. And then also one more thing. So as part of the manager event the other night, we did a business card booster. And I'm telling you that these are really cute because we're crafters, right? You're gonna give them. So I made this little one and it said, let your light shine. And then with it also is a little flashlight. They're gonna keep this. And also included, is your business card, right? So you might give them their business card. It might go to the bottom of their purse or they might toss it out. But if it's attached to a cute little flashlight and a cute little something you made, I don't think they're gonna throw it out quite as fast, and they have your contact information. And they're like, oh yeah, I remember, she made that cute little thing. I wanna make that cute little thing. So just a little thing, business card boosters, they're pretty cool. So that's my tips, I'm prepared.
Awesome.
I have my flashlight like a Girl Scout.
All right, so hopefully you got some ideas there on how you can be prepared as well on the go. Thank you. So a lot of you probably have a fear of rejection. Raise your hand if you have a fear of rejection. Okay, so quite a few of you have a fear of rejection. So Kathy, going back to you and thinking outside of the box and just going up to anybody and talking to them about FSJ, how do you get through that fear of rejection and continue to keep asking people to join your team?
Well, in terms of that fear of rejection, I look at it in terms of what have I got to lose? I mean, worst they're going to say to me is no. And it kind of goes back to the speaker the other day about we grow up hearing no. I want a cookie, no. I want a cookie, no. Give me some candy. And so when you can't have something, it kind of almost gives you a little bit more of, I want that, just because I can't have it. And so with that, I know that thinking outside the box, sometimes you have to look at that in terms of what you think you're going to start with and what you end with are not necessarily the same thing. So part of my thinking outside of the box, or maybe even thinking outside of the booth, recently I was able to join the Inking Idaho team at a Pinterest Pinners convention. And there was 7 of us in a 10 by 10 booth. And so that was okay. And I was there solely to learn because I had no idea what to do or what to expect. But then Becky came to us and said, you can't be outside of the booth and promoting. We're supposed to keep inside the booth. And I'm like, oh, that's just, I'm a little claustrophobic. And so I felt a need to take the business elsewhere, but I'm not a rule breaker, and so I didn't want to know the rules. I'm like, don't tell me any of the rules. I'll be better off if I just don't know about them, and I'll deal with them, and I'll do the blonde card if I need to. And so I took the snapshots, and I took the catalogs, and I turned them backwards because the front of them is really pretty, and so I wanted the front to be out where everybody could see it. And so I showed everybody, and I just walked that entire convention. And I looked for people that had, so I wasn't there to change over the people that were stamping with other cards and things like that, and I wasn't there to be obnoxious and in their face. But I found things that were like the pillows made with the truck. And I'm like, we've got a card that would so match with that if you were to do a gift. Or we have bread tags. So one of the things where I got one of my recruits was at the Bath Bomb bar, and there was a lady who was making bath bombs, and she had a friend that was there helping her. And so anyway, I asked them if they'd seen any of our things at the booth. They were just down I call it a block from where we were, and she said no, and I said, well, hang on, I'll be right back. And so I went back to our booth. I stood in line and did the make and take so that I could get myself a little bread tag and take it back down there to the Bath Bomb. And I hooked it onto the product, and I said, isn't that just cute? And they just kind of looked at me. Well, those people, not the Bath Bomb lady, she had no intention of doing anything other than mixing salt or whatever you do to get those things. But the friend that was there helping thought, hey, I'm here just volunteering my time, and I could do this part of it and make this and tandem in with her. And so we had a little bit of computer issues and things, and that lady came back 3 times throughout the day. And finally I said, you just hang tight, I'll come back and get you when we're ready. And I went back and got her and said, okay, we're ready for you now. And she came back and signed up.
Wow.
So part of that's thinking outside the box, part of that's not being afraid for, I mean, what was I to lose if she said no? I mean, then it's kind of like, okay. You know, so I look at that when they say no, not no never, but maybe not no, and then listen to what their objections are, and then try to slide back in there with an answer to their objection. So
Fun. Bath bombs.
Bath bombs, bread tag die, perfect little hang on that little. So
There's something to be said for consistency too. We all have friends that are a part of other direct sales companies, right? And I have a friend who sells the nail wraps, and she keeps hounding me to do a party. Like, hounding, she's not that type. Just constant communication, constant little message. Just hey, you know, I'm a part of her 12-month club, okay, because I like them. And she's, well, you know, this is your month, and if you host a party, you'll get extra, extra, extra. And I'm like, I am busy, I have no time. But I kid you not, the last time she said it, I was like, well, I guess I could. So anyway, there's something to be said for just, and she's not pushy and she's not hounding. She's just being very consistent with every so often coming back. And I know every time I get a message from her, it's going to be that. But anyway, she's working her business, and she's obviously working because I'm about to say yes. So
Yeah, there's research that says you have to ask somebody 5 to 7 times before they say yes. And as long as they say, no, don't ever contact me again,
right,
then you can continue to ask them. And kind of what you said, Kathy, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose
That's right.
by thinking outside the box and doing something that you might think is stupid, but just do it anyways, because you just never know what the outcome might be. So
I was really surprised at that. I met one of my business neighbors from Idaho Falls in Salt Lake City, and just by walking around that booth and introducing myself and talking to people, I did meet, had to come back and confess to Becky and say I may have screwed up, because one of the ladies that I approached informed me that she was not at all interested because her husband was like the finance manager at one of the other direct sales company. And I said, you know what, if you need to have a husband that is in that capacity, then I'm sure that he could figure out how to fund your hobby and things like that. And she just kind of looked at me, and I left him a snapshot, and I left her friend a snapshot, and I ran right back to over here and said, help, you know, I may have screwed up, and I'm just giving you a heads up, so.
thank you for that. Okay. So hopefully everyone's getting some good nuggets out there. We're going to go into some final recruiting tips. And another important part of recruiting is the orientation process. So Janice, you do an excellent job with setting up your new recruits. Can you talk to us a little bit about that orientation and, you know, why is it so critical?
Yeah, well, it's definitely very critical. So for me, obviously this has kind of morphed and changed over the course of my time as a coach, because when I first joined, I was overwhelmed, I was busy, all the things I still have now, but just getting started, wasn't sure how I would be able to do it as a business. I wanted to, just didn't know how. But again, over time, just doing kind of one little thing at a time. I always knew that as soon, one of my big things is with anybody, whether it's a recruit or whatever, is quick communication, quick. If they send you a message saying, hey, I'm interested in such and such, then you respond right away. We live in a world, right? And for me, especially the online portion, right? If someone sends me a message, it dings on my phone, on my watch, and if I am not doing anything right then, obviously I work a full-time job, but there's breaks and I have my little conference period, I'm working my part-time job during my time, right? So my lunchtime. And I will respond ASAP. And there were so many, I've gotten so many responses from people saying, wow, thanks so much, I really appreciate that. So with my new recruits, as soon as I get that ding saying you've got a new recruit, I will immediately send them an email, and it's a pretty long email. It's information packed, okay, and it's got, hey, thank you so much, a little welcome, a little this and that. It's got like 5-step deal, make sure that you go and get your profile set up, and all the stuff they need to know. And I also include, so I think you had mentioned your recruiting packet. That is what I send, all of that, but in PDF form, so they have it. And I encourage them, hey, put this into, start a file on your computer, put this in there so you have it. Again, I include the new promotion, whatever it is for the month, I include that. I include the career plan, I include the compensation plan. I include, in the past, I have included a link to the handbook, so they have that accessible. Anything that I feel like is pertinent to them. So that is what I do right away. So that's a quick. And within that email, I have a few questions. I say, tell me a little bit about yourself, because I do it mostly online, and so I don't always know these guys, okay? Again, 95%, I don't know the people who are signing up under me. A lot of times it's like cold turkey, like you've got a new recruit, and you guys are going, wow, that's nice. Start doing your videos, and then you'll get the same too, promise. And so I'm wanting to get to know them. I'm like, hey, are you a scrapbooker, card maker? Tell me more about yourself. And then the last thing is, how can I contact you? What's the best time I can call you? Do you prefer a phone call? Do you prefer email or text? Because I want to know what's good with them. And then say, I'd love to, have a chat and see what you have. So when they respond back to me with those questions, I know, okay, they're just in there for the hobby. They're okay. They don't need me to, get with them to form this, that, and the other, or vice versa. Yes, they're interested, then we go from there. That leads to phone conversations. It leads to lots of different communications. And then I've had some that say, no, I don't need a phone call. Actually, I'm good. I joined as a hobbyist and liked your videos, blah, blah, blah. And I'll respond back. I'm like, okay, great. But if you need anything, let me know. So yes, so that's what I do for them. Obviously, send them a little card. I know that, again, for me, it's a little different because I do everything online. I've heard that some people do amazing new recruit packets, and they've got paper swatches and cardstock, and they've got a little stamp and a little something, and that's amazing. And I strive to do that. I want to do that. I'm not there yet, again, because of my time and everything, and I need more blue in me, even though I have a good portion. Anyway, so
she's a mess.
That's kind of what I do. My key point that I want to say is communicate, 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 and do it quick, because they need that. Otherwise, you lose them.
And it's just the easiest thing. It's just being there for them, talking to them. First 48 hours, that's it. People just want to hear from you. They just want your support. They want to know that you are there to answer their questions. It's as easy as that.
Yes.
Thank you. It's really good. Hey, Cindy.
Ready?
You heard her talk a lot about visualization. Yes. And I think that's her thing. So talk to us about visualization and talk to us about the power of planting seeds.
My big thing was, like I told you, once that light bulb went on that I could do it, I started thinking and picturing myself doing this stuff and coming up on stage and doing all of that. But it took somebody planting a seed in my head that said, hey, you can do this. All you have to do is ask. So my biggest tip to you is to imagine, what if? What if I just got that one new recruit? What if they made leader? What if they made senior leader? Start visualizing everything that could happen. It's kind of your why, but it's your what if. And then you sit there and you think about it, you get excited about it, you write it down, and all of that makes it real to you, so you strive to reach that goal. That really helps with recruiting coaches too. Like when I have a customer or I have a party, I'm like, you're awfully good at this. What are you going to do when I'm not here to teach you, or I'm not here to pre-cut these cards? Are you going to take my place? And they start thinking, maybe I can. I know yesterday Jane was telling us she moves between Florida and Michigan.
Michigan. Yes, Florida and Michigan.
So she kind of has a group where she leaves them for a little while. Well, if you get the leader of that group, the person that you know is consistent, and you tell them, what if you become a coach and you do this? And I'll help you do this. So my tip is to plant those seeds. You're really good at this. What do you think about doing this? And people, it's like a light bulb comes on in their head because they've never thought about it before. They just come because they like to make pretty things. I like to make pretty things too, but what if I make pretty things and share it with people? I could be able to fund my habit. That was my why in the beginning was, I need to fund my habit because the honey over here is going, you're spending a little too much on this craft stuff.
Discount.
Yeah. So the discount, well, what if? And then you start thinking, well, okay, so what if I sold X amount of money, per year? What if I had a class once a month? What if I had 2 classes a month? What if I had 2 parties a month? What if I do a video a week? What if? So you visualize that, and then you start thinking and you start getting excited about it because it's that what if. And I see myself doing that. I can be Janice. I can do a video. I can be Chelsea. I can hand out a snapshot at airport. I can do that. Think of yourself doing that. Visualize yourself doing that. Psych yourself up. Think positive about it. And then if somebody says no to you, all you have to do is, I'm no different than I was before. That's one person down, and there's another person right over there I'm going to talk to. So it's that I can do this, and what if I did it? What if it works? So go for it, ladies and gentlemen. But what if? Visualize what if.
I love it. Someone just asked me earlier about a vision board because I did a Facebook Live on goal setting and having that vision board. I think this goes really well with it because a vision board truly is whatever you want it to be. It can be photos, it can be words, it can be an accomplishment you want with a checkbox next to it. But I think the important thing about it, it gave me goosebumps when he said visualize being up here right now. And if you just put it on your board, somewhere where you're going to see it every single day, it helps you with that consistency to visualize that every day. And that will get you closer to accomplishing that goal. So I love it. So let's talk about what do you say? What's the conversation like when you are talking to someone who you want to ask them to join your team? Chelsea's really good at that. You want to talk to us a little bit about the conversation?
Yeah, well, when we were talking about doing this, I thought back, I wanted to put myself in like you guys' chair, like how was I when I first did this? Because I didn't know what I was doing when I first did this either. And, you know, I go back to remembering the first conversation I had, and I really wanted this recruit. Her name was Trista. And I started talking to Trista, and talking to Trista, and talking to Trista. And you know how you get so passionate? I'm kind of a passionate person. And I got so excited, and it was like diarrhea of the mouth, right? Because I just told her everything, right? And I'm like, why? I told her everything. I told her everything about the web store and how to go in and place an order, and I told her this, and I told her that, and I basically, for an hour, had this conversation with Trista, and I didn't stop to say, do you have any questions? I just kept going because I was so excited, and my passion came out, obviously. But so, you know, thinking about this question, I was like, oh, so, you know, take a moment. Like, you don't have to give them everything. Tell them we have a web store. Don't tell them all the ins and outs of the web store. Just tell them we have a web store. We have this. And then stop and ask them, do you have any questions? And answer their questions. They're thinking something, and they're gonna have questions for you, and answer their questions. So with my story of Trista, right? So I think I scared her, and she did not become a recruit that day. But you know what? I had the courage to go back 6 months later or so, and I said, you know what? Remember all that stuff I told you? Would you be interested in joining? She's like, you know, I've been thinking about it, and yes. So I still got her, even though I didn't have a good day that day, and I told her everything. But then, you know what? She knew everything about FSJ when she was ready. Actually, it was a different company. But anyway, she knew everything about that company, and she signed up, and she's still one of my downline. So always do that. But again, you don't have to tell them everything all at once. Little pieces.
I'm still cracking up because that was awesome.
Can you just see it? Yeah.
I can just see it. How many of you have done that? Think about it. You're like, oh, you get a 20% discount, and you get this, and you get Bloom benefits, and this, and this. Yeah. It could scare someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could see that, depending on your personality.
Yeah. Red.
So going back to being fearless and rejection. Some of us have a hard time with the word no. Would you agree? Nobody likes to hear that. So Kathy, can you talk to us a little bit about having a relationship with the word no?
Sure.
A good relationship.
A good relationship with the word no. So I took the boot camp that was offered, and so that I could learn more. I had already read the policy manuals and things like that, because that's the blue-white in me. I could tell you everything there was about that. But I took the boot camp so that I could learn the basics of everything, and part of that was to have a 100 no lesson that we had. And so what you do is you have to keep making contact with people, have to keep talking to people, asking people until you get 100 no's. And I thought, okay, well, I'll just start this off, because I don't have a lot of time. I work 60 hours a week on my job. That pays the expenses that I've already incurred. So I was thinking, I need to get this done quickly. So I started with my mother, and I was taking her on a trip, and my mother's 80 years old, and she does not craft. She never has crafted that I know of, but she was the sports person that lettered in everything. So with that, I started with my mother and asked her to have an event. I said, would you host an event for me? And she said, well, what does that entail? And I said, well, typically you would have like 3 or 4 people, friends, come to the house, and you would make a couple crafts and things like that. You'd have some hors d'oeuvres and things maybe. And she said, sure. And I was driving at the time, and I looked over at her and I said, what do you mean, sure? I said, you would not be interested in this. And she said, well, honey, if it will help you out, I'll do it. And so I was like, okay, this is going to be a lot tougher than I thought it was going to be, because I thought I could just start with and get a few no's in here. So I honestly had to confess that first week I did not make it to no 100 times, and I just flat out claimed it and said, I don't have time, I'm not going to go there. So I just kept at it and kept at it, and what I found was that I was getting a lot more yeses, and getting yeses from places that I did not think I would get yeses from. And so with that, that helped me to get my events, and it helped me to make my other goals that I had set. But with that, one of my no's that I got was from the lady who first introduced me to stamping 12 years ago. And she had done this, and I had said, no, I'm not interested. She says, I'm having a make-it-take party, and you're going to pay me $20. And I said, no. And she said, yes, you are. And I finally gave her $20 and said, it's worth $20 just to get you off my back. And she said, no, you have to show up. So I went ahead, I went to her event, and the demonstrator was late. And so the demonstrator was showing up, and she literally grabbed the stamps, and she was like, making this projects and things. And so with that, I started doing that, and that's how I got into stamping. So I went back to this girl, and I said, I need you to have an event. And she said, no, I'm not interested. I'll never have an event. My best friend is with this other company, and so I have nobody, and I'm not going to do it. And I just said, yes, you are. And I said, open up your purse and give me $20. And she just looked at me. So I said, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding on that. And I said, but you're going to love this products and love everything. So she was a definite no for 5 consistent weeks. I sent her a makery. I picked the makery cards, and I would make them, and I would send her 17 minutes on today's project and things, because she told me she didn't have time, she wasn't interested. So I did these fast, simple, easy cards, and I said, hey, 11 minutes today, did this. And so with that, she finally was like, no way, because I have not made anything for the last 3 years. I just totally went cold turkey. And so with that, she was like, really? And so she was on the last night on the phone with me. I was out of town, and I was driving to get home to a computer to help her, because I thought, you know, the computer sometimes glitches, but if I can help you with that. And I was on the phone with her at 10:50 p.m. on the very last night, trying to get her signed up. And she was not going to do anything, not going to do much. And at this point, she's $450 away from a promotion which then gives me a promotion. And so I'm like, woo! So anyway, so with that, I listen to your no when people tell me no. I listen to it and listen to what it's backed with. So if you're like, heck no, don't talk to me about this, then I would back off and not go there. But if you say, no, I don't have the time, no, my friend is this, I said, bring her, bring your friend, you know, or I don't have the time, then I was thinking it's about making sure she understands it doesn't take a lot of time. And so with that, with the die cuts and with the products that blend together, I'm like, oh, I'll pick the easy cards that have already been made and recreate them. I can cut them fast because it has the measurements and things. And so with that, that's how I sucked her in. And then all week long, knowing that she's $450 away from me getting what I want, I've been sending her pictures of the project saying, look at this cute stuff, look at what we had a swap this morning and look what I got. And so she's like, oh, I've got to get an order, I've got to get an order, I've got to get an order. And she has a $700 order in her queue, $650 because she asked me about the shipping of $65. So I'm like, $650, all she got to do is hit submit, put in a credit card, and we're good to go. So with that, I don't ever listen to the no. And I listen to the no, but I listen to the no with what is it for them. And people don't care what's in it for you. I could tell her, you know, I'm $450 away from getting this. And she'd be like, so? But if I bring it to her in terms of what's in it for her, then they instantly, you know, see that it's all about them. And in terms of just like you guys with all the projects that you make and we run over to the store, I'm doing the same thing from here with her. So anyway, it works.
Awesome.
So.
Woohoo. Well, that was some great best practices that you shared with us, and we're super grateful to have them, and hopefully you found some ideas to go home and try out. And while you were in here, we asked you for some questions to submit. And although we can't get through all of the questions that you wanted to ask, we did choose some of the questions to ask the ladies. And what do you think?
Yeah, let's do
Questions
it.
from the audience? Okay, let's do it. So we'll start with Cindy. Start with you? Yeah? You gonna do a fun one?
Sure, let's do a fun one.
Okay, they want to know what your most unlikely recruit was.
Oh my goodness. I'm sure most of y'all know I'm a military spouse. Sorry, I didn't mean to touch the mic. My husband goes to work in a uniform every day. My husband was, yeah, go do what you want. I took him to the incentive trip last year, and his thing was like, honey, you do whatever you have to do to get us on vacation. So there's my goal, vacation. He crafted with us last year on the incentive trip. He likes it. But we all know that our glitter doesn't stay in our craft rooms, right?
Multiplies.
It multiplies, it clings to everything. He leaves to go to work after the Disney trip, and he has glitter on him, okay? So he goes to work and he's up there, he's all excited because, you know, we got Disney and I ate cookies in bed and I did this and everything was paid for and I got to play with stuff. And the public affairs officer was sitting there watching him, female, and she looks, she goes, CMC, you have some glitter on your face. And he goes, oh, really? It's probably because I was crafting last weekend. Last weekend. And she was like, oh. She goes, what is this company? And he goes off and he sits there and he was super excited. She, in turn, contacts me. She buys something from me. And then she signed up to be a coach. Wow. But it was all because he went to work with glitter on his face. So now I kind of amply throw it around.
So leveraging your spouse is
That's
what you're
right.
saying, your family members.
Leverage your family members because you never know. Who's going to see that glitter and wonder what he was doing? You like that one?
That was awesome. All right, thank you. Chelsea,
Yes.
what do you do to retain coaches?
To retain coaches. Well, I travel a lot, so it's really hard to always stay connected to my team. Say, hey, in 2 weeks we're going to have this meeting, because I don't know where I'm going to be. So I set up a Facebook group page, and I have Facebook Live meetings. I have done Facebook Live meetings even from my hotel while I am traveling, but for the most part, I really like to do them in my craft room, obviously. And with that, I do a little thing, it's just called Ask Chelsea, and it's basically my group can ask me anything. If they want to ask me about the website, they can ask me about the website. If they're like, you know what, I bought these pan pastels and I don't know how to use them. I'm in my craft room, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, well, here's the drawer. Let me pull out my pan pastels. And I actually show them how to use them. And I think that's really great that they have that instant gratification of, I just asked Chelsea how to use this pan pastels, and there she was. She just showed me how to use them. And I'll make like a background, right? And then I'll make the card pretty later and all the details of that. And then I'll post it the next day on our group page, and I'll say, look how I turned the question of how to use pan pastels into this card. And I save that video, right, going live. I save it to the group page, so if someone missed it that last night, they can go back and they can look at it and they can see how I use the pan pastels. But I have coaches all the way from Washington State over to New York, so they're in different time zones. I try to pick something around 7 o'clock my time, which is Central Time, so it's the Central people are past dinner, maybe some of the West Coast people are still having dinner, but I try to have something at about 7 o'clock at night. And again, I take any questions. A lot of times they'll have recruiting questions. A lot of times they'll have, again, product questions. Those are kind of my fun and favorite because then I get to play in front of them and turn my camera on and all of that. So yeah, it's fun.
You also have coaches who have the same name.
Oh, I do. I have 2 coaches that have the same name. Actually, it's quite funny because I said, hey, Jenny, you want to see what I do on my thing? And I actually brought her to one of my Facebook Live meetings. And I said, oh, she's like, do you have any of your team members coming to convention? I'm like, oh yeah, Linda Holland, but I don't think she's on. And Jenny goes, wait, Linda Holland, she is on. And I'm like, oh wait, that's the Linda Holland in Ohio, not the one in Illinois. We actually have 2 Linda Hollands. Believe it or not, there are 2 Linda Hollands in the world. And both of them.
One of them right here. Yeah.
One of them is here.
There she is.
And then there's another one in Ohio. And Linda Holland in Illinois recruited Linda Holland in Ohio.
Oh, how funny.
And so we have this running joke about the Linda Holland. So yes, and you got to meet the other Linda Holland via the Facebook Live, yeah.
So if you've ever had a conversation with me on the phone, I always offer to come to the team meetings. I'm like, I'll come to your team meeting. I'd be more than happy to sit in, to answer questions, just to see what you're doing and to give some feedback. So I did, Chelsea took me up on the offer, and I think, again, kind of going back to just being that support system for your downline, and so that they know that you are there to answer questions. And I mean, I learned how to do something with my stencil, and I was so excited. I'm like, I'm gonna make a birthday card. But you know, if you don't have somebody, and I know this was one of the questions, but if you don't have somebody that's, you know, supporting you immediately above you, you know, reach out to the community, find out maybe who's in your area, because guess what? I mean, would you have someone attend your team meetings that's not on your team?
Of course, yeah.
I think we have a family community, and if you reached out, and again, even go on that business page and just say, hey, I'm in this area, I don't get to go to any meetings or anything like that, but I would love to attend some, and I guarantee you're gonna get a ton of offers, so.
Yeah. I also have a lot of my group members come to some of my crafting events with customers too. And it actually teaches them how to do a party themselves too. And I encourage that. And actually, I'd encourage anyone that had coaches near me if they want to come to my house and learn how to do the party. I like doing that as well so that they know how to spread their wings and fly and do their own thing.
Awesome. All right, so Kathy, you gonna take a question?
Sure.
Okay, they wanna know if someone who's interested but won't commit. So someone's interested but they won't commit, maybe it's a white or a yellow, or they're just not sure, they wanna commit. Okay, what can you do to get them to join? Like, is there anything that you could do to get them to join your team, to make that final decision?
Yeah, I think that goes back to my people, if they can see how it benefits them and see what's in it for them, or I think if you see the product, then that helps. So recently I didn't tell you this, but I got a letter in my email from somebody that I went to high school with that works for another company, and they wanted me to join their team. And I thought, what? And I thought, okay, I'll deal with them next week when I get back. But from this standpoint, I think you need to be face-to-face, or at least on a personal message with them. And so that's where I've been doing and that's how I started all of this, because remember, I had not made one stinking thing for 3 years. And so with that, I started making something, and the first thing I made was a case on the Pumpkin Kisses card, and I made it with the You're So Beautiful stamp, and I posted that out there to a couple of people who I wanted to suck in to know that I was getting back into the crafting world and things. And so I made a sample, and I sent it to them, not on a group message, but on an individual. I sent you one, I turned around and forward it. So I sent it to several people, all individually, so it was their personal message. And I didn't say a thing, I just sent them that You Are So Beautiful and Loved card. And they responded back, oh, thank you. And I said, yeah, I made that. And so with that, if you direct it something personal to them, it's not a spam email message. And again, I just wanted to get the products out there. And I had people that were like, what is that splash all over the card? And I'm like, oh, that's silk. It's like a nail polish in a bottle. You gotta see it, you gotta try it. And so I just kept bringing them back in with something. And I wanted to show them something different, because all of these people have plenty of craft supplies, but I wanted to have them get new craft supplies. And so I wanted to show them and showcase things that were different than what I knew they had already, and then bring them back into the fold and things there. So 2 of my recruits came from people that I had sent out this little message to, and they were like, oh, thank you, I'm so loved, perfect, thank you. So with that, that's, I think, getting in front of the people, either face-to-face. People have a lot more difficult time telling you no to your face. And it's really easy for me to hit delete on that email. I didn't delete because I want to save it and deal with her personally, and I'm going to go to her employment when I get back with a catalog and things there. But with that, getting face-to-face with people is going to make it a lot more difficult for them to tell me no and things there. So
you got to just be consistent and keep asking. But what's beautiful about what we do is the relationship marketing part of it. That's what our industry is. So remember, you really have to get to know people, and you have to build that relationship, that rapport, before you just, hey, join my team or buy my product. And of course, when they're watching you on video, they're watching, they're connecting, they're loving her, and guess what? They're coming back. and they're purchasing and they're saying, I want to join your team, I want to be on your team. So always remember that. And you want to get to know what motivates them. You want to get to know maybe what they would like. Maybe they want to have some extra money. Like, find out what makes them tick. And the only way you're going to do that is by building that rapport and continuing that relationship.
And for me, especially because my hearing is not good, and so for phone calls and things like that, if I can get face-to-face with you and see what you're saying to me and things, then it helps a lot more for me to be there, be with you, and then I can think, you know, of how to handle your objections and things. So, and I can take some product with me, and I was honestly at a birthday party for my daughter the other day, and they had 12 kids running around, and something got knocked over and broken. And I said, oh, hey, I've got something that can fix that for you. And I dug in my purse and pulled out a little tube of glaze. And the other people were like, do you carry that with you always? And I said, well, not always, but I do happen to have some today. And so with that,
here's an order form.
It gave me an in and I wasn't so planning for anything there, but it was a way for me to share with them and things too, so.
Super glue.
That's fun. That's a fun story. Okay, so Janice, we got one more question.
Okay.
What can you do to keep your new coaches motivated?
Yeah, I think so confession, we heard these questions beforehand. As I was thinking through,
I don't know what she's talking about.
as I was thinking through that, how to keep your coaches motivated. Again, it goes back to my main thing about communication and connecting. If you are making sure that you are communicating with them on a such and such basis, so make sure you're having your monthly meeting. For me, it's Facebook Live, because, and it may be once or twice or whatever, but connecting, making sure you're connecting with them, so that kind of thing. Personal one-on-ones. Phone calls. I always tell my coaches, like, please let me know if you need help. I want to help you. They know I'm busy. They know I have a family and a job, but I always try to communicate. I want to help. I want to, you know, be there. And so calls, calling with them, emailing them, however you can to connect with them on a consistent basis is going to help them to stay with you. Now, as your team grows, that becomes more of a challenge, because then you have more people that you're having to touch base with. And any one of those that you kind of, for whatever reason, don't get to, then you have to kind of come up with a system to make sure that you're, you know, touching base in some way, And some coaches are good, like I mentioned earlier, they're like, we're good, I don't need anything, I've got my thing going. And I'm like, and those coaches, I'm like, they're good. I might just use my monthly Facebook Live to make sure that I've got that out, and that's good with them. And so we flow that way. And others are more needy. Your new coaches, like we mentioned earlier, they need a lot more, hey, here's what's going on, here's this, here's that. And so for me, it's just that communicating and trying to connect in some way. So.
And also just recognizing when they do something awesome.
Yes.
I mean, it could just be, you know, they get their 150 party order for the first time, and just saying, wow, great job. Yep. Even if you don't have any time, it's like a text. Or maybe you went on Facebook and did it. That's really going to motivate somebody.
Yes, definitely getting out there that they promoted. So my latest person promoted is Malia, and so I was super, yes. And we were working, so like it wasn't a surprise. We were working. She's been working on this for a while, so we've had the conversations, we had the texts of, I don't know, I've been doing this for a while. So we've had that, like, I know you're gonna do it. And then lo and behold, it was like, I was looking at my numbers like, oh my gosh, she did it. And right away, way to go, oh my gosh, can I ask for permission? Can I tell the world? And of course it's yes. And so yes, for sure, yes.
Recognize and celebrate. That's definitely
Recognize,
a
celebrate.
huge thing for your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, this was so fun. Did you have fun?
Yes.
Did I sound like a Southern girl?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, so we're really grateful to have these ladies here. Hopefully you got some good best practices that you can try if you're not trying them already. And with that being said, can we give them another round of applause? Yay!